Hi, this is Diane Geyer from Tidewater Lactation Consultancy. I'm an IBCLC, a board certified lactation consultant, and today I would like to talk about babies losing 1 pound or so in a day or two. So what happens when you go to the hospital to give birth? The first thing they do, generally speaking, is they put you in bed and they hook you up to an IV. You do not need to be in that bed, and you certainly don't need an IV. And then you spend hours doing whatever, trying to labor, okay? And during that time, your body fills up with fluid. Your baby's body also fills up with fluid. So now your baby is born, and actually, now we're talking full-term healthy babies, actually your baby's birth weight is somewhat exaggerated if you've been through that scenario where you've had an IV for a long time. And then all of a sudden you're in the hospital and your baby's had like an 8% weight loss and a 10%, 11% weight loss. Sometimes it equals a pound of weight loss, depending on the size of your baby, if your baby's really born really big. A pound? Really? 12 ounces maybe? 3/4 of a pound? Can you lose a pound in a day? If I don't eat anything for an entire day, I cannot lose a pound. I can hardly lose a pound in a week if I'm careful in dieting. So this is not reality, okay? The baby has not lost this weight. What's happened is the baby has peed out all the fluid put into him or her during the process of birth with the IV. All right, let's talk about colostrum. So colostrum is nature's most prized commodity, and it is the first thing that comes out after you give birth, okay? And when you put baby to the breast, the average full-term healthy baby takes in 3 to 8 teaspoons of colostrum in the first 24 hours. Measure that out, 3 to 8 teaspoons. Measure out 8 teaspoons. 8 teaspoons is less than an ounce. And that happens the second day as well. So nature has provided for your baby to only take in less than an ounce of colostrum total for the first 24 hours and for the second 24 hours and maybe for the third 24 hours. And then the colostrum starts to drop down while the milk comes in and goes up. And then the colostrum disappears and it's all milk. So that's what nature's provided for your baby. So what happens in these hospitals is they say, oh, your baby's lost 8%, 10% of his weight, and so you need to supplement with formula. I just saw a study that showed that in the United States, 80% of babies born in hospitals are supplemented with formula in the first 2 days of life. 80%. Something's wrong with that. Babies are not supposed to take in an ounce, 2 ounces several times a day, or even once a day in the first few days of life. They're supposed to take in colostrum filled with rich, wonderful antibodies and all sorts of wonderful good things for your baby. And that coats the digestive system and gets it ready for the food, which is going to come on day 3 or 4, or sometimes even day 5. So please avoid that. First of all, when you get to the hospital, don't jump right in bed and get an IV. They're just doing that to check it off on the list. You do not need an IV when you're in the hospital. Eat ice chips, drink water, eat food, okay? So please, you do not need to give your baby formula in the hospital. It is completely unnatural and unwarranted. Also, remember, this is for healthy full-term babies. Now, I've done a bunch of videos and I've decided that I'm going to start to show some of my wonderful artwork that I have here in my office in Chesapeake, Virginia. And here's the first one I'm going to show you. And this actually was hanging up in my mom's home throughout my childhood. And she didn't have like naked people art or anything like that, but I always thought it was so interesting. Well, when she passed away 15 years ago, I decided I would take it and put it in my office because it looks like maybe that baby is nursing. So this little drawing, that's the history of it. That's all I know about it. And I just love it. Happy breastfeeding.